question. How did 909 people die in the hot, sweaty jungles of French Guiana? Well, it all started May 13th, 1931, when James Warren Jones, or Jim Jones, was born. Born in Indiana with a father crippled from being exposed to mustard gas in World War I and a mother who worked almost all of her time in multiple jobs to support the family, Jim had to find something else to do, so he got really into religion. He began going to other churches with his friends and seeing how other religions worked. And he got so much into it that he began giving eulogies for everything, including his friend's pet that had been hit on the side of the road and a rival school team that was about to play them in a homecoming game. After that, he moved to Richmond, Indiana, where he became an ordained Methodist minister, and he, as the youth pastor, he began giving, more socialist viewed, sermons and pushing for, a segregated, desegregated, masses. Well, that didn't work for his church, and so he was kicked out, even though he had picked up somewhat of a following from people. So at the age of only 24, he began his own church, Wings of Deliverance, soon to be renamed People's Temple. And the People's Temple was integrated and would, give socialist speeches, and the speeches some people wanted to hear. Well, as, such a liberally faced, church, they were driven completely out of Indiana, and so Jones moved to South Carolina. He and his family moved to South Carolina, only for Jones to soon move to Brazil after seeing an Esquire magazine article on how nuclear radiation and nuclear war was going to destroy everything he loved and hold dearest. And so he found in this magazine article the places on the world that won't be, as, afflicted, if at all, based on nuclear radiation. So Jones went back home from Brazil, got on a bunch of buses, and moved his family and his church all the way over to Redwood Valley, California. On the way, Jim would give sermons to, random towns out in the middle of nowhere and pick up more members on the way there. He picked up a huge group, moved to California, and the People's Temple took off amazingly fast because in the California area, socialist views and integration were what some people wanted to hear. Jones was doing amazing things such as setting up, home villages for, the homeless and, giving out food for people. But he was doing so much, he had to start taking drugs just to keep going. So, Jim decided, that the next, part of the church was to develop a large-scale, self-sufficient, agricultural farm. The People's Temple Agricultural, program was formed, and they bought a few hundred acres in French Guiana, completely jungle, so they sent 200 so men down to, clear it out. Well, they didn't realize that their tools weren't, high grade enough to deal with the, jungle, and not long after they started, most of their tools and equipment were destroyed, and, they weren't able to do it, which was bad because, Jim decided that we had to move everybody down right away. Because he had been, accused of raping women on the buses and, molesting women. And so they decided they were just going to move everybody they could down. Well, because of how, low scale that it had been, people were sleeping, 5 or 6 to a, cabin, if they had a cabin to sleep in at all, or let alone bed. So then, they got down there, they realized that it wasn't up to, anything they had planned on. They couldn't, survive, and, everybody was, just weren't enjoying it at all. So then Leo Ryan, a congressman from California, decides, I'm going to go down and see what's going on. He went down there and, was amazed at how good they were doing. And so, they decided, they were having dinner one night and, Leo Ryan was passed a note from a woman saying, I want to leave. Can you get me out of here? And he goes, yeah, sure. So the next day, Leo Ryan and, his NBC crew and ABC people who had been down there to record everything decided that they were going to leave, but they were kind of mowed down with guns by a mob and killed. Well, Jim found out about this, that, thing that he had, ordered, and he decided that everybody was going to take part in revolutionary suicide. So all along Jonestown, Jim took, giant vats and filled them with Flavor Aid and off-brand Kool-Aid, threw cyanide, Valium, painkillers in it, mixed that up, and, passed out the cups. Well, the people who weren't, willing to give their lives for this, were simply, given syringes filled with it. That's also how they killed somewhere around 300 infants and babies and children under the age of 3. Well, after this took place, Jim Jones was found with a bullet wound to his head. It's not sure if it was suicide or if he was killed in a last, ditch effort by somebody. Several people, escaped into the jungles, including 3 young children who were later seen on Oprah. So yeah, the question is, why I feel like we should learn from this is that, we need to, be more critical thinkers on, how we view things. Can we always believe everything somebody says or their plans for us? That's up to you, but I feel like we need to be more, independent thinkers based on this. So yeah, the sites I used for this was Jonestown, The Life and Death of the People's Temple by American Experience and PBS. Antoinette Rick Jones, Jim Jones and the History of the People's Temple, based on San Diego State University. Fiona Steele, Jonestown Massacre, A Reason to Die. Biography.com, Jim Jones biography. And B.A. Robinson, People's Temple, led by James Warren Jones. And Religious Tolerance, a group out of, Canada, did a paper on it. Thank you.